the Coldwell Banker George Realty YouTube video channel. So you could always go there, go to YouTube, and you put Coldwell Banker George Realty Training. If you put all 5 words, you will see. If you see the new logo, the new Coldwell Banker logo, and the George Realty Chinese logo underneath us, our channel. And what I'm gonna do is the following. I've been showing property. My clients love the property. They wanna live in Alhambra, and I am going to show you. Before I go there, I want you to look at the chat box. If you can look at the chat box, I put a lot of things in. One of the questions today is, do you use Coldwell Banker tools to make more sales, okay? And I'm just gonna mention to you, one of the tools is called Prospect Square. The other one is the Coldwell Banker University, the Learning Center. The other one is CBX plus Moxie Present. This one is a comprehensive listing marketing CMA tool to do market analysis. It is here to stay. We are virtual, we are online, and we need to be able to do a presentation online. This probably will help you. There is a ZAP, the coldwellbanker.com website that you own. Every person at Coldwell Banker George Realty has access to have your own website, and you also have a client relationship management, CRM. There is also a CBX. This one is called the Listing Experience. This one showcases your local expertise and insights, okay? This is also a CMA tool that you can prepare and either present by email. You can send it to them and they can watch one after the next one, or you can do kind of like a PowerPoint presentation, and or you can put it on your printed and then show it to them page by page by page. It's called CBX Listing Experience. The way I believe is that you guys are paying a 6% franchise fee to the Coldwell Banker Company for the use of all of these tools. And if you're not using it, every time you close escrow, you feel like you're wasting your time by paying the royalty or the franchise fee. I mean, it's like a McDonald's. They pay royalty fee, but they tell them how to turn their hamburgers. They tell them how many ounces of ketchup to put on the bread. So if you learn the Coldwell Banker way, you will be a successful Coldwell Banker agent. So don't put that aside. There is also brand email. Some of you chosen to use your Gmail. I still use my Gmail, but I also pay for my cesar.aviles@coldwellbanker.com. You can have a personal account and you can have a business account. And that way you can control your business, or it's up to you to mix them. There is also for commercial agents a program called Build Out. This one is a commercial, how to make flyers and presentations and all that. It's an e-marketing platform called Build Out. There's another program called Exclusive Look. Some of you talk about coming soon and all this other stuff. There is a community of Coldwell Banker agents all over the United States. So let's say that you're going to put a property in San Marino for sale, and you know that the seller already told you, Cesar, I'm committed to list with you. And you wanted to post it there and say, hey guys, I'm going to be getting a listing in San Marino schools. If you have a buyer for a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, north of Huntington Drive, call me. There will be Coldwell Banker agents that are looking for something like that. They will call you and you can just start negotiating that transaction before you list it. They call it Exclusive Look. It's before the property gets listed. Also on Exclusive Looks, you can say, hey, I'm having a difficult buyer. I need a house with wheelchair ramps for my grandmother or whatever. And this house needs to have a handicap light lower 3 feet so they can turn the lights on and off. And I'm looking for this type of, Americans with Disabilities Act retrofitted house, showers that don't need to have a step up or whatever you want to do. You can put it there on Exclusive Look, and maybe somebody has one of those houses, it's expensive to do the retrofitting on some of those houses. There is also a button there that says Award Tracker. You can click there and you find out what you're tracking for. Of course, right now, everybody's in January. It will be no tracking because there's very little closing transactions. There is another button that says Spark. This one is for professional benefits, or if you don't get medical insurance, you can go here to Spark and you can buy group insurance at a discounted price. If you are in the luxury business, there is one called Proxio, and this one is marketing websites for luxury properties. There is another program called Brevitas, and this is for commercial agents. So there is a tremendous amount of, and I'm gonna be sharing my screen, and I'm gonna be showing you how to get there. So I also have a list of all the websites that we should have it. And I'm in the process of putting them, and I've sent them out in emails before, but I'm gonna make a little, maybe a Word document, and I'm gonna be adding websites that I think that are so important for you as a real estate agent. Remember that you are the president of your real estate company, and you are the janitor of your real estate company. That's how I say it, right? Because you have to make big decisions about your business. You're also the financial manager. How much money are you going to spend on advertising? You're also a marketing director, whether you're going to be sending postcards, you're going to be sending letters. What kind of marketing are you going to be doing? Remember that you are an independent contractor. Yes, the company is here to give you support, to give you training, to help you, to guide you in the right direction. But we cannot do everything for you. You are the person. You chose to be an independent contractor, 1099. I know the reason why you picked to be an agent is because you and I do not like people to tell us what to do or how to do it. But there's people that have traveled this road and they know the tricks of the trade. So I would say that you should be listening to people like, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, Buffini, and then pick who you like and who is the person that you consider to be your real estate guru. There's a whole bunch of them. Or business, Brian Tracy. There is all kinds of professional development companies out there. I don't want to confuse you because there's hundreds and hundreds of those. And we have picked just few that we like the most, that we think that are good. But I get bombarded with people that calling me, oh, your agent should do this, your agent should do that, and can I get an email of all your agents? And I try to guard you from all of these people that are trying to sell you, because they try to sell you a magic pill. You buy my product, you're gonna make a lot of money. You buy my leads, you're gonna make a lot of money. You have to work, you have to talk to people over the phone, over the mail, over your Facebook. Talk to people that you know, talk to people that you want to know. Meet people, friends, families are the people that are going to give you the most business, acquaintances, people from previous jobs, and that's how you're going to be successful. So I'm going to send you a list of all of the websites that I think that are helpful to run your business, okay? Also, be aware that the Association of Realtors also have a list of peoples and companies and stuff like top producers or marketing this or marketing that you can use. I understand that some of them there is one called Lion Desk. It is a contact management that you can email, you can text, you can do several things of the clients. And by the way, for the people in Alhambra, I send you today an email about what to text. You can text a previous clients. You go through your phone and just decide to text 10 people at a time and just say, just to remind you, I'm a real estate professional. If you want to buy or sell in 2021, I am here for you. Small text, and send it and see the response that you get. Some people are going to say, I didn't know that you were in real estate. Some people are going to say, no, my sister is looking to buy. That's how you find customers, okay? And then you pick which ones you want to work. You don't have to work with everybody, right? And you don't have to go out and sell a house in in San Diego. You can go and buy a house close to your home. So let me start this training again, and remember, this is being recorded, and it's recorded just for the benefit of Coldwell Banker George Realty agents. It is not recorded for the public. Anything I say is not legal advice. I shoot from my hip. I am in this business since 1981 when I got my license, and I got into the business in 1983. as a professional real estate salesperson. Then I became a manager very early in my career. And then I decided the management was not for me. I went back to being a salesman. I sell real estate with George Realty since 1996. And then in 2002, I became a manager of the Alhambra office. I left a little bit to go and run some investments. And then I came back in 2008, right after the real estate crash. And I am your manager now, and I help you as much as I can. And I'm your trainer and your coach and whatever. Just want to point out something. If you are looking at the Zoom meeting and you look at the at all the people participating, the lady in the red shirt, her name is Mary Scott. If I tell you the story of how I met Mary, Mary, was owned a property that she did not live in, and I used to call every single day of my life. I would be calling for people that did not, absentee owners. That's what I call it, absentee owners. People that do not live in their home, because I thought it was easy. Instead of telling them about selling their own home, nobody wants to sell their own home where they sleep, but they might sell an investment property. And this one was her father's property. And I call, and all of a sudden she tells me, I want to sell my house, my father's house. And so I made an appointment, I do my presentation, but when I go to her house, I knock on the door, and all of a sudden the person answering the door is her husband, and her husband is it's a cantor. He sings at my church. And I said, I know you. And all of a sudden we struck one of the wonderful, most beautiful friendships. And her husband and I, and herself and my wife, we are very good friends. We're neighbors. And I always like to tell the story that I met a good friend by cold calling. It was my previous customer. So let me get to this one. I would like to go to www.cbgeorgerealty.com. And when I go there, you just put it in your, I hope everybody's watching my screen, right? If you don't see my screen, if you don't see the Coldwell Banker George Realty website, just let me know, unmute yourself and tell me that you're not watching it. If for any reason what I am projecting is not what I am talking about, also let me know, okay? So this is Coldwell Banker George Realty website. All I wanted to let you know is if you go to this one where it says agents, right? And you print over here anything, you just go search agents. It will take you to the roster. I want every single Coldwell Banker George Realty agents to be listed in this roster. And what I find out that if I go like this, look at this one, no photo. That means we do not have your photo in our file. So please send your photo to your manager. The manager will send it to Red Lee, which is our marketing coordinator, or you can send it directly to Red. Look, William Banuelos, also no photo. Nancy Boxberger, no photo. Of course, Buddy from Puente Hills has a photo. I have a photo. Alex have a photo. So you can go page after page after page, and you will find out that some agents do have photos and some agents don't. And it is very shameful that when you are looking for work, you're asking your friends and family to list your home with you or buy your home, and you tell them, they immediately go to the website and they look for you. And if you do not know how to market yourself, how to put your own personal photo in your own personal profile, they say, how is Simon going to be listing my house if he doesn't even put his photo in his own website? Okay, so just watch out for that. I'm telling you, it says a lot. People make judgment of you before they decide to list your home with you. So I want you to make sure that you come to the website. I understand it is not the best website in the face of the earth, but it is what we have for the present time. Make sure that you're in the roster, okay? The next one that I wanted to show you, oh, by the way, when you are here and you go to where it says agent login, you can click on agent login. It's gonna ask you to go to a protected area, this box. Click on the protected area, and for everybody to know, the password is the word George. George. When you click on the word George, doesn't matter, capitals or non-capitals, you click on OK. Then it tells you you got it right, so you click OK again. At this point, you may not go over here because you will have something that is preventing you, cookies or something. So make sure that you know how to use your computer and go to websites. When you cannot get to some of the pages, you cannot navigate on a website, is some of your security settings, okay? So here, we find a couple of links, right? You will find the January 21 training calendar. If I click on it, I hope that I would take me to the calendar. This is the January 2021 calendar. I hope you're watching it. Today is the 8th, and between 10 and 12, we have a working with buyers, buyer contract zip form. For 2 hours, you are with me. So this is a way to learn what's going on at Coldwell Banker George Realty. Of course, we have dialing for dollars every day. I mean, we're staying home, but you should be at home working. So make your Wednesday or make your Tuesday or whatever day of the week to be one day that you're gonna be looking for business, calling everybody. And you can go and do 45 minutes and take a 15 minutes break, 45 minutes of calling, 15-minute break, go to the refrigerator, have a juice, whatever you want to do. Some of you are home. If you want to work from our offices, all 3 offices are open. All 3 offices have staff. We exercise social distancing. We wash our hands. We have sanitizers in the office. You're welcome to come in as long as there's no more than 10 people in a room at any given time. We follow all of the procedures that we have to be safe. Okay, so make sure that you wear a mask and everything. So this is the calendar. I gotta move all of these out of here so I can run my thing. So then you will find a connection also. For those of you that are renewing your license, you can click over here, and this one will take you to the CBGR, the real estate CE shop, is continuing education shop. You could also give this website to your friends and family when they ask you about getting a real estate license. These ones are pre-licensing courses. And because we're going online, we used to have a real estate company a real estate school that used to meet over here and teach. Now, because of Zoom, we go online and we look for somebody. We partner with this. Is one of the best continuing education schools and also a pre-licensing school. So let me just close that one too. And we also have a relationship with what is my relationship with Addie Schools. And you go also to Addie Schools and get your real estate. Some of you are students of Kartik. He's a wonderful friend of Coldwell Banker George Realty. So we love to have his company also online. California real estate pre-licensing courses are available through the Coldwell Banker George Realty site. So all of these ones are links. And if you are a commercial agent, you will click on the commercial logo and it will take you to a commercial links that you can use. So these ones are just resources for Coldwell Banker George Realty agents. Please don't share the George to everybody, even though it is easy to do that, okay? So we would like to keep it for Coldwell Banker George Realty agents benefits. Okay, welcome to those of you that are joining us a little late. You're always welcome to sign up at any time you want. The next website that I wanted to go to would be the www.mycbdesk.com, mycbdesk.com. And when you go to mycbdesk.com, this one is anything you need from Coldwell Banker, you can find it here, okay? Anything about Coldwell Banker, you're gonna find it over here. Of course, because I'm a manager, I have more of this. I have Dash, I have CBC Dash, something that you don't need to, but I have something called Prospect Square. Everybody has Prospect Square, and I want you to start using Prospect Square. If you know people, put them in here, name, address, email, phone number, and then you could always send an email, quarterly marketing. You could also do prospect squares with potential buyers, just people that you know, name, address, and email, and you can start marketing. This prospect square is what taking place instead of e-marketing. No longer call e-marketing. Now there is a company that calls it prospect square, and this is where you come to prospect for future business and business. The next one is Coldwell Banker, and I'll click on prospect square. It should take us to another website through the Coldwell Banker company. I hope you can see it. And of course, it says, good morning, Caesar. Here's a snapshot of how your email campaigns are working. At the present time, I don't have email campaigns, right? It says you don't have any email campaigns. You can create email campaigns, new ones, but you know, this is going to be another training that we're going to have on how to use this one. Okay. I'm trying to schedule it with our Coldwell Banker ambassador. Okay, with Lisa Overman. So let me get out of Prospect Square and go to Coldwell Banker University, the Learning Center. If I click on this Learning Center, it may be overwhelming for some of you, but if you are new to the business, if you're an experienced agent, if you just want to brush off on your skills, there is hundreds, if not, you know, this one, there's 13 courses, self-paced. That means you can do it on your own. You can do it at 3 o'clock in the morning. You can do it at 6 o'clock at night. You can do it between washing clothes on your dryer and doing the dishes and cooking and vacuuming. It's up to you. This one is talking about fair housing. Everybody needs to take something about fair housing. We need to, help people of all races, creeds, sexual orientation, doesn't matter. We're equal housing. Everybody has the right to live in a decent home. And so we need to fight for that. And we need to help everybody that doesn't have a home to own a home. Home ownership is the best thing that could ever happen to any government. Okay. So free countries have a big percentage of home ownership. Goal projector. If you wanted to make sure that you know how to create a business plan, a goals, it will walk you through the whole goal, how much money you want to make, how many deals does it take to get that goal. And it tells you at the end of the day, how many calls you have to do on an everyday basis. This one is also my best day ever. This is a time management class and you can do it on your own. This talks about your sphere of influence. This is your friends, family, neighbors, your doctor, your gardener, anybody that you know, anybody that is in your cell phone in the contact should be your sphere of influence, and you should call them and tell them you should do real estate with me. This one is a virtual amp, amplifying your business. This is the best training, virtual outlast. If you are an experienced agent, if you've been in this business more than 1 year, you should take this class immediately, okay? I'm working with the company owners to see if I will even give you a cash incentive. If you give me the certificate that you completed this class, I will make sure that the company gives something of monetary retribution to you. I'm working with the owners to see if I can put a price to it, because this will make you a lot of money. So take this class. I cannot emphasize it enough. This one is also a lead generation, right? Lead generation workshop. These are virtual classes. So you take these courses virtually, meaning you sign up and there will be a teacher from New Jersey teaching the classes. Script libraries, agent script libraries. I know that some of you don't like the Mike Ferry scripts. Well, these ones are the Coldwell Banker scripts. Take a look at them and see if you make them part of your language. You need to know what to say when they tell you, how do I qualify for a loan? Well, you need to talk to a lender. How do I go about buying a house? You need to tell them, you need to set up an appointment, meet with me from 30 minutes to 1 hour, and I'll go through a whole questionnaire. How many bedrooms, how many baths, how many square feet? I want you to know how soon you want to buy a house, how many people income are going to be qualifying, what kind of color of a house you like. Do you like a Spanish house? You like an English house? You want a California ranch house? you like a dishwasher, you want a central air, no central air. You want windows, no windows, air, no roof. You know, you want to live in the patio. It's up to you if you want to cook outside. I do not know. You want to have an office in your house now that, you know, pandemic is hitting you. Everybody wants an office in their home so they can be quiet. Well, these are how you learn what to say, the lingo. If you work for McDonald's, they would always ask you, would you like to supersize that? Okay, that is a script. Would you like ketchup in your hamburger? That is a script. You know, when you walk into any store, they say, welcome, may I help you? That is a script. When you walk into a plane, for those of you that have been in a plane in a long time, they tell you, please fasten your seatbelt. If the oxygen, if the cabin loses pressure, there's gonna be a mask coming down on you, and then you gotta put it to your kids first, and then you're gonna put it to yourself, and grab onto your, you know, inflatable lifesaver if you land in the water. Those are scripts that every business uses. So there are real estate scripts that you have to take. I cannot emphasize enough, you need to learn the real estate lingo. You know, are they qualified, not qualified? All of those words, you know, are you pre-approved, not pre-approved? What do that means? So those are scripts that you need to learn, and this is Coldwell Banker University. Okay, Caesar, enough of that. I am going to another website. I am going to go to my zip form website. And before I go there, I need to explain to all of you, there are two zip form programs. One, every member of the California Association of Realtors, including you, any member of the California Association of Realtors, anybody that pays dues, have access to www.car.org. That is the California Association of Realtors. Once you go there, right, you're gonna find a button that says transactions. If you click here, okay, you are going to go to the transaction, right? Those are everybody. 200,000 people can go here if they pay. Don't go here. So what I'm asking you to do is you are going to go to zipformplus.com. zipformplus.com. You got to go there. And when you click to go there, you are going to be landing in a page that looks exactly like the other one, but it's not. This one is the private door for Coldwell Banker George Realty agents. Now, if for any reason you went to CAR and you created a transaction at CAR website, it is not going to be here, right? So there are two, but the engine, the way they operate is exactly the same. The benefit of using the one I am telling you to use, the ZipForm Plus, is because I and the managers, we go through the process of creating templates. And that tells you the potential forms that we use that are required for real estate agents that work with Coldwell Banker George Realty to stay out of trouble. Some of them are recommended. Some of them are by law. We have to use certain forms by law. And the other ones are because of company policy to protect us and protect you. And the other ones are, you know, forms that could be used to help our customers, advisories and things of that nature. So here, if you do not have an account, please reach out to your office administrator, reach out to the manager, or reach out directly to me, and I'll make sure that you do have an account here. This is one of the benefits of working at Coldwell Banker George Realty, that we have broker version of the zip form. So the username is usually your first name dot your last name, okay? And then the password is the password that you create when you first sign up to this program. We send you a link, you click on the link, they verify that you are a member of the CAR, okay? Because if you're not a member of CAR, you cannot use it. So they click, they want to know what is your member number, and then you put in a password, and that's the password that you're going to use. If you want me to reset it, if you want me to check if you have an account that you haven't used, I'll be delighted to do that. I got to put my password if I remember. And then I sign in to the program. I hope everybody's watching the screen. When I land on the program, it looks exactly the same. See, it goes through the California Association of Realtors. It validates that I am a member. It makes sure that I am a member of CAR, but I'm not going through the CAR portal. I am going to the SIP Form Plus portal. So I'm going to put continue to my transactions. Okay. Now, I use this one and I delete all my transactions. I don't keep them here, but you can keep all of your transactions here. Of course, they're going to give you advertising, right? You could always say, do not show me this, but I am a real estate advertising junkie. I read anything about real estate. So I pay attention to everything that comes my way that says real estate. Now, this is where I land. This is my transactions, okay? This is very easy to use because it looks like a file cabinet where you have the dashboard. That's one drawer, right? Forms, that's another. Forms, that's another one. These ones are all the real estate forms are coming over here, right? So there's a list of all the forms that CAR puts out together. Whoops. I'm having a little computer slow. What happened to my forms? Okay, let me do this. I am going to close here. I am, and it walks me out. It says, thank you for using Zip Form Plus. So I am going to completely go to a sign up again to my Zip Form. And you have to go back to the beginning. When you get kicked out by any chance from that program, you know, the Zip Form Plus, you have to go back to the beginning. If you go it takes you back to the CAR program. So don't do that. Come back to this location. I hope that you are watching, and if you have any questions, I am gonna make like a little stop for questions in about 20 minutes. That way, I would like the participation of all of you, because if you're not asking questions, it tells me that you are not learning. So these ones are my transactions. I click on forms, right? So hopefully it will give me a list of the forms. There they are. So all of this on my right-hand side are the forms that we subscribe to, right? Cover sheet, residential listing agreement. My goodness, I get so confused. Look at it. Coronavirus property, all of disclosure information advisory. There is forms and forms and forms and forms and forms that if I were to give you all of these forms, you will say I am more confused than anything else. Office management agreement. There is possible representation of more than one buyer. Probate listing addendum. There is receipt for reports. There is representative capacity signature. There is request for repairs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Multiple counter offers. Look at it. I can go tenant stopple. Trust bank account record. I mean, do you need this one? Let me just show you the form. Okay. Do you need this? I don't think, I would never use it. We don't have a trust account, but the CAR creates one. Okay. And so we do not use this, don't have to use it. That's the reason why we create the templates for you. So let me get out of this one, right? I'm gonna go back. I totally walk away from it. I am sorry that I keep signing into it. For some reason, it kicked me out. Technology, okay, brought me back to where I was. Great. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to transactions, which is what the class is all about today. The transactions, I'm gonna create a new transaction after showing property, driving around, filling out 350 million PEADs forms. We got an offer and we are gonna be showing this buyer an offer. And I'm gonna, instead of putting the property, I'm gonna put the property address, and I believe that the property address, oh, I forgot to write it down. So I am going, I know I have an MLS number. I wanted to be able to put the address. So I'm gonna just put Alhambra, because I know the property is in Alhambra. Maybe later on we'll come back to the address of this one. I will tell people not to use the name of the client, because this client may be writing 2-3 offers, and then you're gonna be confusing which one is this one. And I don't want you to create one transaction for that buyer, and then I know that some of the agents go back and put delete, 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 and then they change the address. That is not the way this system is created. This system is created for unique. It has addresses. The property are unique. There's only one. The buyer can buy 3 or 4 properties and it's the same buyer with the same name, but the address is very unique. There's no 2 same addresses in the world. Even if you're buying a condo, it has unit A, unit B. So those are individual. So this one is a residential purchase. I work for Coldwell Banker George Realty. I'm in Alhambra. I know that your screen just looks a little different, but I do have access to all 3 offices. So mines are listed like this, right? Corporate and then Alhambra. So I am in Alhambra. If you are in Puente, you're only going to have the Puente address. Now, this one is very interesting because I have an MLS Connect, right? So when I click on the MLS Connect, I will put the listing number that I'm going to be writing an offer. So I put AR2022688. That's my MLS number. That's the house that we're doing. And look at it. It is residential. I want the photo of that listing to come into my transaction. I belong to CRMLS. And when I go, I'm going to put fine. And it goes out there to my CRMLS, my zip form connects. Whoa, that's the house that I'm buying. It has even a picture of the house. It tells me the listing ID. It gives me the listing price. It gives me the day that the property came up on the market, you know, and then it came in November 1 of 2020. So the property, it gives me the address 1817 Geranio. So all of this information is gonna be populated into my transaction. So I'm gonna use this listing. So look at it. Already I have the image of the house that we're making. It's on this one. I wanted to always use active, but this one I can put prospect, you know, and then once you close your transaction, you can put it fell through or the transaction is inactive. I don't use this for my status. I always use active because I'm always working on my files. Residential, it is a residential, okay? If I wanted to know the zip form record connect, it connects me with I believe that this connects me with how much, you know, oh, Lone Wolf, this one I have to pay membership, and it gives me the title company information. So I use it free anyway, okay? So what happened to my transaction? Uh-oh. Okay, I lost my transaction. So let me regain my transaction again by going to transactions. I am going to a new transaction. I am going to purchase a transaction. I'm gonna put Alhambra because okay, there is the property. Let me go to the MLS Connect. Let me find out. Oh, we were here before and we have data on here, but it disappeared. Okay, 1817 Geranio. 1817 Geranio. Okay, that's the property. Use this listing. The property here is 1817 Gerenio in Alhambra. So it's a Google map, so you will go and grab it. It is a residential transaction. I belong to Coldwell Banker. That's the MLS. Is active. Here is the key of this class. Do you see what it says? My templates. Select templates, right? And when you click on templates, you have a restaurant menu. And which one, what kind of property is this? Is it commercial? No. Is it commercial? No. Is it a mobile home? No. It's a residential income? No. It's a residential income purchase? No. It's a residential listing? No. It's a residential purchase. This one, right? So I need to apply the proper menu. Is kind of like going, are you going to go for Chinese food, or do we go for Thai food, or we go for Mexican food, or French food, or Italian food? So we are going for residential purchase food. This is the menu that I'm going to be choosing. So when I click there, I'm telling that my manager already got a template for me to write an offer. So residential purchase is what I want, and I'm going to save this transaction. Once I save the transaction, it's going to appear here, and then I'm going to be moving one step at a time, okay? It's applying the template. It goes first into this drawer, summary. It gives me the MLS number. It already tells me the zip code. It has the address of the property, right? And then I need to find out who are going to be buying this property. So this is the summary. These are who are buying the property or who's involved in the transaction. These are the documents that I'm going to be using. These are checklists. I don't use checklists, by the way, but if you want to design your own personal checklist, that's up to you. Remember, you're an independent contractor. I don't need to tell you how to do your business. I will give you guidance. I will tell you what other people are using and how other people make money and how other people that I know use these ones. Notes, I don't write notes here on my zip form. E-signatures, we're going to visit e-signature. I will have one class just devoted for e-signature, so stay tuned for the calendar. History, it will tell me the history of this transaction. And marketplace, it will tell me other companies like escrow company, title company, a whole bunch of companies that pay money to CAR, to California Association of Realtors, just to be featured in the website. I don't need it. I use my own escrow. I own my own title people, you know, all the friends of Coldwell Banker. I use our affiliates, right? So this is the person involved in this transaction, Cesar Aviles, right? Now I am going to add a buyer for this transaction, right? So I am going to go for parties. Who is involved in this transaction? Xiao Zhang, he is the listing agent. So, and he works for Keller Williams. So now this person, it's gonna be part of the buyer side. So if I put the buyer side, there it is. If I put the seller side, sell side, well, he will be on some of the sell side too, because he's the listing agent. And then I am gonna, on the sell side, I need the agent, right? I need to select me. Select the seller number one. I don't need to have the seller. Well, why am I there? I want to be in the buyer side. Okay, there it is. On the buyer side is me. So I need to verify that it's me. And I do this for training purposes. I wish I can do it one time, but I do it for training purposes. I'm going to view who is the buyer's agent, right? The selling agent and broker. So the selling agent is going to be Cesar Aviles. I type my name because I type my name so many times. It's already in my drop-down menu. My agent ID is my license, right? My license number is my license, the same thing. My email is caviles@coldwellbanker.com. My business phone number is that one, or the 457, or my cell phone if I wanted to use the cell phone. If I wanted to put my cell phone again as my business number, I repeat it. My business fax, by the way, this is the Alhambra fax machine. Nobody uses faxes anymore, but I have a manager's fax, which is 289-8168. I work for Coldwell Banker George Realty. Coldwell Banker has a license number. My office ID 01121 01121 690. That is everybody's license number. So write it down because that is the broker's license. You need to use it. My broker company, that's the office phone number. Broker fax, that's the fax for the company. I'm at 1611 Garfield. So save this contact. If I wanted to add a photo, I can go and add a photo here, and then your file will have your photo, or maybe when you send your offer, you will have a photo of you. So what you do is you go add a photo, open up your documents, wherever you are on the documents. I think somewhere here, I can add that one. Whoa, no, maybe I add this one when I was young, right? I add this one, I put open, and my photo will show up over here. Maybe too big for the file, so it takes a little longer to add the photo. Yes, probably I picked a big photo. Okay. I don't know if it's there, maybe too big, but I'm gonna save my transaction, my information. Okay. So I am the selling agent. I will represent the buyer. Buyer's agent, selling agent is the same. Oh, there is a picture coming anyway. Now I am going to have buyer number one. I always like my buyer. Her name is Betty, and her last name is Buyer. And then Betty's email is buyer at CBGR. Phone numbers 1234567 55512, whatever number, business number she doesn't have, cell phone number doesn't have. And then I'm gonna put her address. She lives at an apartment, whatever information. The more information you put in here, the more that it's gonna auto-populate to your transactions, okay? Now here, if you guys are buying a property for a trust, for an entity, for a corporation, for using a power of attorney, the buyer is in China and the brother, the sister is here, then the buyer in China gets to be listed over here, and the person that is going to be signing, a person, a company cannot sign, a trust cannot sign. There is a person that has permission to sign, so you list it over here, okay? You put the name of the person, and this is going to be on the bottom of the signature line. So Betty Buyer is my buyer. I'm going to save it. So now I have the agent that represents the buyer. The agent that represents the buyer and the buyer. Okay. So now I'm going to move to the documents for these transactions. When I click here, I already have a list of all these documents. Remember that we went to the residential template, right? And it gives me everything. Now I have a cover sheet. The more information that I put in a cover sheet, the more information that is going to auto-populate. So we have Betty Buyers. We only have one buyer, so we only need one X on the signature line. We take it away. Then we have the transaction, the property address already auto-populated here with the MLS number, with the parcel number, right? It has the listing price. It has the escrow information. It says seller's choice. I need to change that information. If I wanted to change the escrow company, I can put Glen Oaks. I can put Moy Escrow. That escrow is going to be on the escrow person. The transaction cover sheet, it has this is the buyer's broker and this is the seller's broker. Remember, look at the license here and the license here. When I write up an offer, these licenses are going to auto-populate to my transaction. If you don't put the 4 licenses in a place in the purchase agreement, your offer is invalid. It is incomplete. That's why if you do it by mistake and you make an offer and a counter offer and you sign, we need a confirmation of agency if this was not done correctly with the licenses of the people. Then this is a transaction cover sheet, right? So I move back again. Then I go to the sales information sheet and it says, use this form if you're sharing commission with other agents. Oh, maybe I am sharing the commission with another agent. I am going to use this form internally. This is an internal document for the company. And it has over here, Cesar Avila's 100% of the selling side right now. And I sign it and I date it and I complete this information once my offer is accepted and I give it to the office. If I don't do this and I'm sharing commission, let's say I'm doing with Mary Scott. So it will say Mary Scott, 50% of the selling side, Mary will sign and a date. And then I'm going to put Cesar Avila's 50% and I'll sign and I put the date. If in the middle of the transaction, Mary and we fall out of being partners, and I believe that I did not do a job, and Mary says, I've done everything. So Mary can put Mary Scott 75% of the selling and Caesar 25% of the selling, and we date it at a later day. I get it as the manager, no problem. The agents are happy. The problem is when I got a 50-50 and I get a complaint, oh, Caesar didn't do anything. I deserve the whole listing. I'm going to say, I'm sorry. When you turn in this paper, you guys were 50-50. When we close escrow, we give 50-50 paychecks. If you want to change it, you need to give me signed authorization before I can release the check. All right. So that will be that form. The next one is the California Residential Purchase Agreement. But before I go to here, I wanted to tell you that this one, it says to be signed by the buyer at the same time that you're signing the RPA. So this document that should be involved, I'm sorry, I checked on the wrong, this Coldwell Banker Addendum, which keeps you out of trouble. It needs to be signed at the time of writing the offer, okay? And it is a document that keeps you out of trouble. It tells the buyer, vesting, we buyer advised to consult with the appropriate professional. Privacy notice, we started this way before 2018. This is the time that we revised it the last time. But look at it, privacy notice. California just offered that California privacy in January 1 of 2020. Landfill, for some of you that remember, there used to be landfills here in the Montebello area, in Roland Heights area. Gusty winds, there are winds on Glendora, Azusa, rural wildlife. I don't know if you've seen a coyote lately in Arcadia, North Pasadena. You see coyotes everywhere. So that's wildlife. You see squirrels, that's wildlife. You see rats in the streets of Alhambra, that is wildlife. Freeways, we have freeway noise, train noise. So nobody can sue you because they do not know how to sleep at the nighttime. Aircraft. If some of you don't even know, but in case there is trouble at Los Angeles International Airport, they can send people to the Ontario airport, and the people are going to be flying inland, and there's going to be a lot of noise. So make sure that your house is not right under the train, the noise, or be aware. It says the buyer responsible for the noise. REO, short sales, probate, trust sales. We tell the buyers to consult with their proper zoning, right? We're telling the buyers, please check the zoning. You cannot have an Airbnb in some areas of the city. Oh, I bought this house because I wanted to have a rental. Oh, maybe here you cannot have long-term rentals, short-term rentals, whatever. Seller financing. Yes, right here, there is a compliance fee documentation. Everybody, every transaction at Coldwell Banker George Realty has a $295 a fee. And this one is, the reason we charge this is so we can have broker version of zip form. The reason we charge it $295 is so we can have the zip form, the sky slope. The reason we charge it $295 is a flat administration fee so we can have a staff that is going to be helping us on the transaction. Rent control, watch out for rent control. The entire state of California has rent control. Tax legal consequences. We need to tell the buyers to consult their CPA and their lawyers. 1031 exchange, if you're selling property, you may be taxed, right? Additional environmental hazards. We live in California, everything can cause cancer. Transactions related services. We cannot guarantee that the escrow, title, the termite guy, the plumber, the inspector, they have to carry their own insurance. Value, we do not know the value of a property. We only can give competitive market analysis information. We tell the buyers to select their own inspectors. And here is the most important document of all of it, right? Number one, it says buyer subsequent purchase. This one protects you, your commission, that the buyer is not going to go around you and buy the same house you're showing it through somebody else. right? This one is in the event that this transaction doesn't closes and the buyer goes out there within 12 months, you're entitled to your commission. So read the documents before you talk about the document, okay? Whether you like it or don't like it, it is a document that needs to be on every single transaction at Coldwell Banker George Realty. Okay, the next one is we're telling the buyer, Mr. Buyer, get a home inspection. This one is for anybody that has a FHA transaction, must have this sign. Federal Housing Administration needs to have this form signed, and that way your loans are gonna go through back. The next document that goes in there is a buyer inspection waiver. We no longer use the Coldwell Banker home inspection companies. We used to provide a list of home inspection companies and give it to the buyer and then have them sign the inspection waiver. This is an inspection waiver. I'm waiving, right, the wood destroying, or I'm waiving the home inspection, or I'm waiving other ones, right, on other report. You click the boxes. They're already pre-checked. Betty will sign here if she wants to waive the inspection, but I don't want Betty to waive the inspection. I wouldn't have any first-time buyers to waive an inspection. A builder, an investor, they can waive it before writing an offer, but not a first-time buyer or a normal purchase buyer, okay? The next form that I wanted to show you is a statewide buyers and sellers advisory. This one is a form that if you read it, I want to give this as a homework. If you read it 5 times, right, you will be 80 to 90% better than all the realtors in the San Gabriel Valley. That this is a real estate class on its own. It talks about the seller's duties right here, rights and duties. It talks about the broker's rights and duties. This is your job, what you're supposed to be doing. It talks about the seller's duties, right? So buyer's duties, what the buyer needs to do. And it tells them you are strongly advised to investigate the conditions and suitability of the property. It is not your job as a real estate agent to tell the buyers this is this house is perfect. You can't say that. They need to investigate. So it talks about the physical conditions of the property. It talks about the property use and ownership. It talks about off-site neighborhood conditions. This form talks about the legal requirements on a transaction. If somebody dies on the property, environmental protection agencies, foreign investment, FERPTA, California withholding. It talks about flood hazards. I mean, this form can teach you, and if you present it to your buyers, they should understand what they're getting into, okay? Anybody over 18, it's responsible. So they need to read this. It's not for you to take all the responsibility. They are adults. It's like if you are a stockbroker and you sell stocks to somebody and they buy it, they're happy buying Coca-Cola stocks, right? And then all of a sudden Coca-Cola stocks dive and takes a $2, $3 loss. Do they come back to you and say, my goodness, you sold me Coca-Cola stocks and it went down. I want my money back. Well, it's not your fault. As they're going to say, hey, Coca-Cola has been going up. If you bought $1,000 of Coca-Cola in 1955, today that stock is worth $1 million. Hello. So are they giving you $1 million back because you told them to buy Coca-Cola back in 1950s? Come on. It's not your responsibility. The value of property, the condition of property is not your responsibility, right? So here you read this. There is 14 pages. Read it 5 times. I promise you, if you honestly read it 5 times, you won't even have to ask your broker what to do. You know everything about real estate and about a real estate transaction. Look at it. Easements, encroachments, environmental hazards, formaldehyde, geologic hazards, inspections, mold. You learn about pets and animals. I know about my dog. Septic systems, okay? Soil and geological conditions, square footage, lot size, boundaries, surveys. water intrusion, well and water systems, wood destroying pests. This is what we vulgarly call termite, right? It's called wood destroying pests. Now, property use, who can access accessory dwelling units? Do they have it? Are they legal, illegal, without permits, building permits, zoning, code compliance? Buyer intended future use and modifications to the property. Oh, I want to buy this house and I'm going to make it a hotel. Well, you can't do that. California Fair Plan, if they cannot give you insurance, California Fair Plan will guarantee that you get fire insurance. Future repairs, replacements, and remodels. It talks about that. Heating, ventilating, air conditioning. Guys, we are selling houses that have old air conditioned systems. And by law in the state of California, you cannot take the Freon, the gas anymore. They have trouble with that, right? They outlaw some of those things. Do you know that if the water, if the air condition breaks down, can you repair or you have to replace? Hello, watch out for those things. And they have websites that you can go in there, right? www.energy.gov. I don't expect you to go to all these websites, but they're there. When a buyer asks you, tell them the government wants you to go see this website. Go read it yourself. Historical designation, coastal commission, insurance, title insurance, right? Land lease, if you're buying property on an area that is leased, land. Marijuana, they teach you how to smoke marijuana. If you read the whole paragraph, you learn how to inhale it. No, I'm just kidding. Methamphetamine labs, right? Drugs. There is a website that you can go, right? Owner's title insurance. What's title insurance? What does it do? Rent and eviction controls. If you buy property in the People's Republic of Los Angeles, right? In the city of Los Angeles, there are very rent controls and there are certain rules on how to evict somebody. Retrofitting, building requirements, point of sales requirement, short-term rentals and restrictions, right? This is what I was talking about, Airbnbs, right? Some areas, some condominiums don't let you rent unless it's 30 days. View, you buy a house with a view in Monterey Park and all of a sudden the tree grows in front of your house and the tree grows the neighbors. You cannot tell the neighbor to cut the trees unless you own the easement for the view, right? Swimming pools, security, safety, water storages, improvement bond of 1915. What is an improvement bond of 1915, right? Maybe it was a bond for the city to build schools and parks, and some of the property are still paying for those improvements. What about Melrose? What is Melrose? Some of you don't understand, and you need to explain it to your buyers. Well, Melrose, it was a Mr. Mello and a Mr. Roos. Just like Coldwell Banker, there was a Mr. Coldwell and a Mr. Banker, and they became partners and they created Coldwell Banker. Well, Mr. Mello and Mr. Roos, they were assembly people, they were lawmakers in Sacramento, and they created this community district that allows a developer to build a school, to build a park, to build a highway, to build the sidewalks, and grab that, make it into a district, and distribute the cost of those buildings among the people on this neighborhood, right? Usually a new development. And they are gonna pay for those expenses for the next 15 years, 20 years, and they charge them next to the taxes. So property taxes, one bill, Melrose taxes, the second bill. Melrose will end up, so if you're buying a property in a Melrose area that has already been there for 20 years, you only have maybe another 10 years to pay, and after that, your taxes are gonna be low. I mean, the paying for the Melrose is gonna be low or non-existent. It's gonna be removed from the property. Understand those things. Off-site neighborhood conditions, right? Golf courses next to it. Neighborhood area, personal factors. If you believe in feng shui, if you believe next to the cemetery, those are personal factors affecting the property, right? There is something in there. Neighborhood noise, right? Noise from a school. You go on a Sunday, you walk through the property on a Sunday, no noise. And all of a sudden, the next day when you close escrow on Monday morning, every hour on the hour, there is bells and ring and ding. And it's because there is a school next door and they have an alarm system and the sound and all that craziness that happened next to a school or next to the police station, next to a hospital. There's emergency ambulances going. I don't know. It's up to you where the noise coming from. Schools, underground pipelines. For some of you that do not know, there is a huge underlying pipeline here in the San Gabriel Valley, and nobody talks about it. But hey, we want to let them know. Some people don't want to be on top of the gas line, just like the people in Placentia or whatever up there by Magic Mountain, that they had a gas leak, and look what happened. Legal requirements, federal requirements, state requirements, local requirements, earthquake faults, seismic hazard zone, EPA, lead-based paint. This is a federal stuff, okay? Fire hazard, FERPTA, California withholding. Did you know that if the seller is a foreign person, let's say I do not have a social security number, I bought a house cash in Alhambra and I'm gonna sell it, and I sell it and I run back to my country where there is no extradition, right? They cannot find me. The IRS cannot chase after me if I go to the jungles of Brazil. And who gets to pay my taxes? Your buyer, if the FERPTA is not done correctly. So understand what's going on. The IRS will chase the buyer for my taxes if I run away. So make sure that when you're representing the buyer, the seller fills out a FERPTA and the FERPTA is on your file. Don't be ignorant of the law. Flood hazard, right? Rain, it never rains in Southern California, but one day you rain and everything floods. Megan's Law, this is a sex offenders. You don't go to the website, because if you know about it, you're not gonna be able to judge whether this sex offender is a big offender that killed somebody, or is a sex offender that happened to be very late. He was drunk and he was peeing outside his house. Who knows, right? Notice of supplemental taxes. Every time you buy a property, the property gets reassessed and they send you a new tax bill. Zone maps. This is in a fire hazard zone. And now there's a very fire hazard zone, and there's a new form coming up. Contracts related issues. So I'm going through this form because I want you to make sure that liquidated damages, mediations. I mean, it is a complete real estate class. You know, maybe if you guys want it, we can go paragraph by paragraph. Send me questions that you want to do, and that way we will explain the entire transaction. I also do not know your level of knowledge of the real estate, so I'm always teaching at a basic, newer agent kind of class. I always believe if you have your foundation very strong, you can build a big building, right? So this is a form that needs to be signed at the time you're writing the offer. So here's a good deal. You give it to the buyer after they sign the offer, and you tell the buyer, go read this form. And if you have any questions, please let me know before I get a counter offer, before I get an acceptance. You will be asking me questions about, does the house have a square footage problem? And that way you address them before you open escrow, not after when you have troubles. Then we move back, okay? I said I was gonna stop around 11, and it's 11:16 for any questions. So let me share my screen. I see that everybody's falling asleep. You know, unmute yourselves if you have any questions so far. Any questions so far? I am glad that you're in the class. If for any reason you feel that you have a question and you want to put it on the chat, you can certainly do that. The more questions I get, the better we all gonna learn. If you think that the class is too elementary, let me know. If for any reason, as I said at the beginning, you don't understand something, believe me, it's not you, it's the teacher. I need to be able to teach you and make you understand all of this stuff. And if you don't understand it, please, please, please feel free to call me. You can call me personally. You can pick up a phone. My number, by the way, it's right there on my sign, 757-5550. That's a Coldwell Banker sign. I took this, and of course, I don't have a green background. That's why I'm transparent in some of the parts. You can see that I have a hand, but I don't have a shirt right here. So if you don't see that, it's because I don't have a green background. Any questions? If I have no questions, I'm gonna come back to sharing my screen. You can unmute yourself and ask the questions, okay? Let me go back to share my screen. I believe that was my sharing of my screen, and I'm landing right there. Okay, so I am going to go all of these forms, market condition, right? This is a form that you give to the buyers and you explain about the market, and the buyer signs it, and you send this. You send this form when you send your offer because you want the seller to know that the buyer got this from you. It's full disclosure. Anything that the buyer signed, the seller needs to get a copy and acknowledge that they got it. Anything that the seller got, the buyer needs to get a copy that is signed. That's why when you open escrow and we have a long list of all these forms, and you say, well, my buyer don't sign it. Well, but he has to. If the seller gives it to the buyer, you can acknowledge. You don't have to agree. You can say received and put a signature there, okay? So this is called market condition advisory, and you tell the buyer there's going to be multiple offers. We are in that type of market where there is a lot of multiple offers, so the buyer needs to be aware of that. The next one is cooperating broker compensation. Okay, I used to be of the belief that you didn't need to send this form, okay? And technically you don't have to, okay? If the property is listed in the MLS, we don't usually get the form, okay? Unless the commission is being changed, either upwards or downwards, right? But you must use this form when the property is not listed in the MLS. Because when the property is listed in the MLS and we are members of the MLS, there is a contractual membership benefit that says, if I sell your listing, I get paid whatever you posted on the commission in the MLS. The posting of cooperating commission, whatever it says there, is what we're gonna get paid, and you just have to have that, send it to the escrow, and we get paid. But unfortunately, there are other real estate companies out there that are wild Indians, and they don't have a real listing. And they put a listing in the MLS without having a real agreement from the seller that the seller is going to pay 6%, for example, and they're offering you 3%, or that the seller is going to pay 5%, and that we're going to get paid 2.5%. There is a verbal agreement. Sometimes it's, oh, put it on the MLS. If you get an offer, I'll pay you a commission. And the listing agent and some other companies, small mom and pop companies, they don't keep everything by the rules, so they put it on the MLS. And then you write up an offer, you open escrow, and then the listing agent comes back and say, well, my seller didn't like your offer, it's too little, we're gonna pay termites, we're gonna reduce the commission. You say, I'm sorry, but I'm getting paid whatever you put on the MLS. Uh-oh. If there is no listing agreement by the seller to the listing agent, very hard collecting that money. So if you want to protect yourself, I'm going to leave it up to you at this time to start using this form on every transaction. And if the property is on the MLS, all you need to do is a confirmation. Look at this one, confirmation. This is a confirmation of the compensation that is on the MLS. The cooperating broker is a participant, meaning it's a member in the MLS or a reciprocal MLS, and will accept what is offered compensation in the MLS as, and you put the amount. If they put, 2.5, you put 2.5. If it is 3%, you put 3%. You're just confirming that the commission that we're earning is the same, right? So those are the choices. Properties listed in the MLS, you do it. If the property is modified and I'm gonna get paid 4% extra, then you do the modification, right? If it is not a member, there is one here says the cooperating broker is not a member of the MLS. There are real estate brokers out there that don't do a sale. They happen to be lawyers, and they all of a sudden representing a buyer. So the cooperating broker is not a member of the MLS, and he's gonna get paid 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%. You do that, okay? Or if this is a short sale, for those of you that don't know, it is a short sale, and the commission is going to be considered on the lender. See, the lender approval right here, it's going to approve our commission. Sometimes the lender may not approve a full commission, and we get the short end of the stick, okay? If the property is not listed with any multiple listing services, right? So there are all kinds of choices. So I'm going to leave it up to you. It is not a mandatory sky slope form, but it will be listed there if applicable. So if you want to do forms, if you love to do forms, I would encourage you to use that one, right? This is the form for representative capacity. If the buyer is an entity, a trust, a power of attorney, a probate, somebody, you know, a state, then you're going to be using this, right? And this one, there is, watch out that when you're working for the buyer, you use the one that says for the buyer representative. When you're working for the seller, it's going to say for the seller representative. Okay, so the forms, they look exactly the same, but they're backwards. You know, sometimes when you represent the buyer, you're in the buyer team. When you represent the seller, you are in the seller's team. Okay, so make sure that you know how to use the form, and it's at the time of the sale, you sign it, and at another time, you know, you can sign another one. So there is, you can assign this, and there will be another person signing. If it's blank and blank over here, all we need is this signature at the time of the sale. Okay. This form was revised 6 of 2020. You always look at the bottom of the form to make sure that you're using the latest zip form, the latest form, because the California Association of Realtors have $1 million in legal defense in the event that the courts have any problems with the language here, okay? So make sure that you use the latest. That's the reason why Coldwell Banker George Realty uses the broker version, because we get the latest forms, okay? Do not use old forms, and do not accept old forms. If you are a listing agent and the buyer's agent sends you a form that is old, reject it and say, we love your offer, please submit the latest form that has the proper boxes and the proper dates and the proper you know, codes, because codes, the law changes every January. A new law comes into effect. Okay, whoop, I went backwards. So representative capacity. Okay, the other form that is here is the contingency for sale of buyer's property. My buyer, Betty, needs to sell her condominium before she buys here. So then I'm going to use this form, and I need to tell the seller whether Betty's property is for sale, right? Just listed, or if Betty's property is already in escrow, right? So I let the seller know that I'm already in escrow, and I put the escrow company here, right? And the escrow number. And I let the seller agent check on my transaction to see that the buyer, Betty, is already committed. They already removed contingencies on the previous sale, so it's a little stronger. If the property is just on the MLS, my offer is a little weak. Then I have to offer maybe more money to entice the seller to accept my contingency, right? So this is in the event that the buyer needs to sell a house and use the money from that house to purchase this house, okay? So I am going to go back. Now, Betty, in this case, doesn't have to sell on a condominium. She is renting. She has all her money in the bank. So when I go for this transaction, and I say, buy contingency for sale of buyer property. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to delete the form from my menu. I don't like chocolate ice cream, right, on my menu. So all of the forms that I got, I'm going to be using on my transaction. Am I going to be using the representative capacity? No, because Betty is signing on her own. So this form, I am going to also, the representative capacity, I'm gonna take it off from my menu. I'm not gonna eat this on my menu. I delete it, right? Now, am I gonna be using additional signature addendums? So this one is in the event that Peter and Paul and Mary and Tracy, all of them are buying the property, and on my forms, I only have 2 lines. Well, I need a line for Peter, and I need a line for Mary, and I need a line for Tracy. So Tracy will sign here. I will make an attachment. This is an attachment. This is an attachment for signature for the residential purchase agreement, and you click the button, because once you click the button and you put it together, it is as if these people, you know, Mary and Peter and Tracy, are part of that purchase agreement, okay? So this is one form to use. In this case, I have only Betty. I don't need no additional agreement. So I don't want to get confused. I grab here and I say delete the extra signatures and I take it off. All right. If for any reason you cannot delete forms, let me know. There is a little glitch on the programs and I need to check a button in your profile, okay, that you have permission from Coldwell Banker George Realty to delete forms from your templates, okay? Now, addendums, right? Addendum, I don't need an addendum at the beginning of my transaction. So here's what happened. The managers decided to give you the menu, but you don't have to use it. So you can leave it there, or you can go ahead and say the addendum, I want to remove it, right? There's also request for repairs. It's already there, right? We just want you to find your forms in your menu. If for any reason you need to use a form, your transaction is very delicate and it needs to use a form that we did not put here, don't worry. You could always go to the right of here where it says all forms, and you click on that little arrow and it gives you a list of all the other forms, and you can find any forms you wish. And once you click on the form, it will be added to the bottom of your offer, okay? So of your documents list. So agent visual inspection, you don't need it now. This is at the time of making the offer, but you will need this form when you are writing a transaction, because on the TDS, on the transfer disclosure statement, I want you to click on the box and do this form, okay? And add it to the form, okay? Buyer counter offer. If the seller gives you a counter offer, you're supposed to sign it, and then you come back and do a buyer's counter offer in the event that you don't like what the seller is giving you a counter offer. The next form is going to be a contingency removal. Of course, once you go into the transactions, you're going to use this form to remove the contingencies, right? And you can do it 3 times. You can do buyer removal of contingency, that's A, 2A, and you click the boxes, tick, 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 tick. Or you can say, I remove all the contingencies except I don't want to remove the loan contingency, or I don't want to remove the appraisal contingency, or I have not read the homeowner's disclosures, or I want to keep another one, right? We're waiting for an engineer's report. Or you can remove it 3rd time around. I remove all contingencies, no more, we're closing escrow, right? So you can remove contingencies all the time, whatever contingencies. All of these ones are contingencies. Or this, if you don't remove them, you can cancel based on these things, okay? You can cancel the transaction. Most of the time, you can get the money back if it is a legitimate cancellation, right? This one is the extension of time addendums. We said we were going to close escrow on January the 8th. And January the 8th is today, and we haven't signed loan documents, and we're going to close next week. So then I'm going to put here that I'm extending the escrow to a certain day. We're going to close escrow next week, right? Or I need another extension for the home inspection. Anything that you want to extend, you can extend, and you could also make a little arrangement. We pay $100 per diem, right? after the close of escrow original, and we extend the escrow. So we're gonna pay them $700 extra for the delay. So you can do it here to put those little adjustments to the transaction, right? So this is once you already open escrow, but the forms are here. For example, if you're buying a condominium, you must use this form, parking and storage disclosure. Sometimes the parking, they have an assigned parking number 33, and the unit is unit B. Okay, so make sure that you do it. So the seller has been using space number 33, right? Or the seller has been using storage A. We sold a condominium in Long Beach. On the listing, it says 2 parking. When we close escrow, we couldn't find the parking. We only have 1 parking, okay? So watch out for that, because you buying a condominium, you need to make sure that you do that, okay? Parking and storage disclosure. It's mandatory for condos. It's a form that must be used, okay? The next one, you don't do it at the beginning, you know, of the transaction. You give it to the listing agent once you, and you tell the listing agent, please provide me the parking and storage form, okay? But it's right here in case they don't know what it is, it's here. Notice to seller to perform. If the seller doesn't do something for you, you tell them, hey, Mr. Seller, you have 24 hours to give me this form. You have 24 hours to whatever. You give notices to the seller to perform. They may give you notices to buyer to perform, right? This was verification of property conditions. This is the walkthrough at the end of the transaction. 5 days before the close of escrow, the property is in the same condition as it is, right? The next form that I wanted to bring you is the earthquake receipt. Must be signed by all buyers. It does not matter whether the property was built yesterday or the property was built 150 years ago. If we represent the buyer, Coldwell Banker George Realty policy is that we get a receipt that we have given the buyer this book. And the book can come physical book for free. We get them from the NHD companies. You also can email the book to them by using these forms, okay? So here's, you know, First American has all of the combined hazard booklet and blah, blah, blah. The buyer signs it, the seller signs it that we're giving a book to the buyer, and we put that in our file, okay? That is the booklet receipt, okay? You will receive earthquake hazards if the property was built before 1960. Most properties that were built after 1960, you do not need to have that because of building departments already have building laws and codes that are making houses safer for earthquake, okay? Of course, you need to sign a coronavirus addendum of amendment if you are buying. This, to me, is crazy, but I am teaching Coldwell Banker George Realty agents, and this puts your buyer at a weak point, but you can cancel the transaction based on coronavirus. This form came in at the beginning. This form came in April of 2020. If anybody is buying a house today, they don't care about coronavirus as far as the transaction is concerned, okay? They do care about coronavirus, about health, but not about the transactions or extensions or time. So read the form. If you're gonna submit it, if I am the listing agent, I will not tell my seller to sign this form. I say, if you wanna cancel, you cancel based on real reasons. Coronavirus, then don't buy a house. Don't even make an offer on my house, because I don't wanna deal with somebody that is gonna tell me about this and come back with all kinds of issues. Oh, I'm afraid of walking in. I'm afraid of opening the door. Then don't buy this house. Stay home, lock up yourself as the government tells you, and don't come out, don't do nothing, okay? That's just my view. That's my personal view. All righty, we go back. But the form is available. Remember, before you write up an offer, you do have to fill out a PEAD with the client. So the form is not that here. We just want you to go to Zip Form, get the form, or go to Glide and get the form and give it to the listing agent, okay? If once after the transaction is and you want to put them into the file, we will accept them in the files. Okay, what a lot of you have been waiting for, and I'm 7 minutes behind, is 11:37. I am going to go to the California Purchase Agreement contract, and this is where everybody, if you have questions, please let me know. I will quit maybe 10 minutes before 12, so that way I have reasons for questions. This is a disclosure regarding real estate agency relationship, and what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna make a full screen, and so everybody can read it. This is something that you have to read it. You are licensed by the state of California. You're supposed to follow the law. It is not me, the person that is going to be telling you what are your duties. This is the seller's agent's duty, which is you, and I mean the listing agent, and this is the buyer's agent, which is you. And then if you happen to be representing somebody and they're making an offer on a Coldwell Banker George Realty, doesn't matter which office, Alhambra, Puente, or Arcadia, we are the same broker. We have the same broker license. In the eyes of the law, we are representing both. Even if you have never met the seller, you have to represent the seller because the seller is being represented by Coldwell Banker George Realty. So we do have that. Tell the buyers they do have responsibilities as a over 18 in the state of California. You're not a minor. You need to know what you're getting into, right? Remember that these disclosures are provisions of section 2079, inclusive of the civil code. I mean, it's like somebody that is driving a car and don't have a driver's license. You are in violation of the law of the state of California. Well, if you don't use this form, you and the buyer are in violation of the law, and you should be put in jail. That's technically what it is, right? But the buyer will sign. Betty will sign this form. If Betty wants explanation on this form, right, she can go to her own lawyer, say, go look at a lawyer to explain section 2079, or you can read it, right? It's right here. The whole law. My goodness, it's a lot of law mumbo jumbo. Should be homework for anybody that plans to be in the real estate business. Read it at least once. This form was revised in December of 2018. Before it was a little bit more complicated. This form, it only has the buyer, for the buyer to sign. If you want the seller to sign the form, you send it to them. Then they will have the seller sign the form, okay? But the seller doesn't have to. The seller will sign his own agency with the listing company, and they can keep that copy. I don't need to see it. If you are presenting the offer, you need to send this to the seller, okay? If you want to request a copy of their agency, you're welcome. If the listing agent gives it to you, that's fine. It doesn't have to. We will put it on SkySlope and keep it there for the rest of our lives. Okay, SkySlope keeps all the files for a lot of years. So there is our 3 years or 5 years. By law, we need to keep all transactions in a file. That's the reason why we charge $295, because it costs money to have storage, you know, and we have to do that by law. Now, this is the disclosure regarding real estate agency. It comes with the offer. The second document that we're gonna do is the Fair Housing and Discrimination Advisory, okay? Exactly, this one is a federal and California code, okay? So United States code, this is federal, right? Prohibits discrimination. And this is the California Fair Employment and Housing Act. So there is FHA law, and then there is FEHA law that we need to comply, 2 laws. And then there's the California Civil Code and RUA Act, prohibit. So there's a whole bunch of them. And then there is the American with Disability. This is also federal. If you violate this, you go to jail and you go to a federal penitentiary, okay? Don't take your job lightly. There are people out there that are fishers. They go out there, they call a company and they say, I like to see a house, and they're very pre-qualified and they happen to work. And when they work for the maybe the school or whatever, and they will go and they say, oh, can you show me this neighborhood? And you say, no, that's not a, you know, a good neighborhood. Is this color or this type of people lives there. You are in violation of the law and you deserve to be shot in the plaza. I'm sorry, that was just I just wanted to see if you're awake, okay? Do not discriminate against race, color, sex, sexual orientation, marital status, familial status, citizenship, primary language, ancestry, gender, source of income, immigration status, national origin, gender, disability, military, religion, gender, medical condition, age, any arbitrary characteristics, criminal history. It could be somebody that went to jail, already out of jail, and they want to buy a house and they got the money and they got a job and they're already okay. But they went to jail. Oh, they do have a criminal record, but they're not. They should deserve to own a home, okay? So you got to follow the law. This paper is being given to the buyers so they don't feel discriminated. And if they feel discriminated, they are going to be calling these companies, right? They're going to be calling the federal government, the state government, the local government, the DRE, and he gives them the HUD and the DFHE and all of that things. So you say, hey, by the way, I'm not supposed to discriminate, but if you feel that I discriminated against you, sue me. And right here, go to the government and file a complaint against me. That's what you're giving them. That's this form for. It's 2 pages, right? So make sure that you do not do discrimination, right? The third form in the offer, all of these papers are signed by the buyers, are supposed to be understood by the buyers, and they go to the seller's agent once you fill them up. Possible representation, more than one buyer or sellers. You give them this because you do not know. We work in a big company, over 300 agents, and maybe Peter is already writing an offer on this house, and then Caesar is going to be writing an offer on this house. We're in conflict, right? We got 2 people, 2 buyers writing an offer on the same house. Well, who is Coldwell Banker George Realty representing? Is he helping Caesar's buyer, or Coldwell Banker George Realty is helping Peter's buyer to buy this house? Oh, there's a conflict, right, of interest. Well, that is the reason why we tell them that there could be more buyers, and they're giving us a consent. They're giving us permission to have more than 2 buyers, right? Could be 3 buyers, 4 buyers. So make sure that you do. And if there is a dual agency, I'm going to show you a Coldwell Banker George Realty listing, dual agency, right? In this case, Keller Williams is the agent on the other side. Not to worry, but we could be representing more than 1 buyer, right? Agency, then is the fair housing discrimination that goes along together. Then it is the possible representation, more than 1 buyer. Then the other form that comes in is the wire fraud and electronic fund. This is an advisory. It comes together. It is Coldwell Banker George Realty policy that we give this to the buyers and to the sellers, because we are in Southern California where there is a lot of fraud in real estate, because the price of real estate is big. There is a potential for a lot of thieves and a lot of crazy dudes that are out there scamming people, similar to the ones they write you an email, similar to the one that call you on your cell phone and tell you, you won the lottery, give me your social security, give me your phone number, give me your date of birth. There is people in real estate looking at transactions on wire fund. So when you explain the form, you can explain it right there, and it says, please sign here. And if you have any questions, call the government right there. Call the FBI. Okay, if you feel something, call the National White Crime Center. If you feel something about Guard Online, go call Guard Online. Call the government right there. They're going to help you right here. The government, may God bless, help you, and the government help you too. All righty. There are existing alternatives to electronic. Yes, you can go to the bank and get a cashier's check and deliver the check to the escrow. It's up to you. And then now we're waiting for, everybody waiting for the California Purchase Agreement, right? Remember when we were filling out our form, all of this information came auto-populated. I didn't type it. Look at it. Keller Williams came here with a license. Jiao Zhang came here with a license. Coldwell Banker George Realty has a license. Caesar has a license, and the box is already checked. They represent the seller, and we represent the buyer. Woo. So if I fill out my forms correctly, it's gonna be. The other one is there is already an X here that says, I am giving you an agency relationship, CARAD form. It's already attached to my contract. So I prepared the contract today. Betty, the address, the parcel number, all of that information came in. I'm gonna go a little fast because it's 11:47. I said I was gonna stop. Finance terms, I am going to be purchasing this property for $950,000, right? The escrow shall close within so many days, 60 days. No, I want to close within 45 days. Whatever days you put in here is specific to your buyers. I want to move sooner, or I need 60 days for my money to come from China, okay? 90 days. My money is coming from, South Africa, and it's coming on a slow boat. My money is in, the Amazon jungle, and it has to be walk, and then by horse, and then by boat, and then you'll take a plane to the United States, whatever, and then walking through the immigration line. I am gonna be putting about 3% of the purchase price, so 3 times 9, it's about 27. So I'm gonna put $30,000, right, to initial deposit. Escrow, buyers doesn't give me no check. Within 3 business days, that money is gonna be deposited in escrow, okay? And then I am not gonna increase that deposit, and I am going to be offering it within, my loan is gonna be $600,000, right? And then it will tell me what the down payment will be. My down payment will be $320 plus the $30,000 that I already put. I'm gonna borrow 600, and I am gonna pay for this house $950. The math is done. If I wanted to get an 800 loan, right, I would put here, I'm gonna borrow 800,000, and then look at it, it changes everything. My deposit, my loan, my down payment, this plus this, 150, and I am paying $950,000 for this house, okay? Now, I gotta do a couple of things. My loan, it has to be not to exceed, I gotta put up interest rate. I don't want my loan to exceed 3%. Doesn't mean that the buyer is getting 3%. My buyer can be getting 2.25. Usually you use 0.5% to 1% higher than what the bank quoted them, just in the event that the interest rate goes up. But if you want to put your transaction super tight, and I'm qualified for 2.25 on my lender, then put that. If the interest rate go to 2.375 and you want to walk away from the transaction, you say, yes, my loan is higher than what I was applying, therefore I'm canceling. Okay. If you cancel within the first 17 days, no problem. Okay. In the event that you're using an adjustable, then you put whatever adjustable. I guess today nobody buys adjustables because fixed are very cheap to get. Okay. Anyway, if this is an FHA loan, then you do have to click the box that is an FHA loan, and then you have to put a percentage on that one, right? So buyer has so many days. If you gotta use the FHA amendatory clause. The CAR FHAC should be part of this agreement. You're making it part. If this is an FHA loan, if you click here, an FHA loan, click, then this form will be attached to your offer, right? Then verification of the down payment, it's clicked. That means that if I send this offer, I must send a letter with a verification of money, a bank account, a bank statement, a broker statement, a credit line approval, whatever. If I take it off, I'm not sending that verification of down payment. And within 3 days, I will show it within 3 days of my acceptance. In the meantime, I'm gonna send it. Appraisal contingency. If I don't do nothing, 17 days after the acceptance will be appraised. Loan application, I will apply within 3 loans, or I already attaching a letter of pre-approval, okay? If this is a loan contingency within 21 days, If I want to be crazy, as I always are, I have 45 days for escrow closing. I'm going to put 30 days. I want the listing agent to read the contract. I have 30 days to get remove the loan contingencies. I can be as crazy as removing the loan contingencies 40 days. When I sign loan documents and then I close escrow within 45 days, remember. It's up to me, it's negotiable. I can put anything I want on the form. I'm the one writing the form. Nobody's writing the form, it's me and my buyer. So I can do that. Of course, they're gonna give me a counter offer, but if they give me a counter offer that says remove contingencies with 7 days, I either say yes or I either say no. I need 30 days to that, right? And I'm gonna write a counter offer and I'm gonna tell them I need 30 days and keep fighting until we get the meeting of the mind. On a first-time buyer, I will never do no loan contingency, okay? Unless they're super rich, okay? And if they're super rich, they understand financing, okay? Unless they won the lottery yesterday that they don't understand financing, then I would not do it, okay? And then all of these forms are to be attached. The moment that you click it, it gets attached. Backup offer, septic tank, short sale, probate. Okay, I am going to stop here because it's page number 2. The rest of the form is who pays for what. And if you have a questions, I will help you on this one. I want to make sure that I have time to answer questions. And if you have any specific questions on this one, I will address it with you. If you want to call me after the class, I'll be delighted to do that. But if you have a question, another agent has the question. And I apologize that I did not go through the entire offer. I might do it again. And you know this class gets repeat. This class is also previously, I have gone through the class and you might find it on the YouTube as this course was pre-recorded. So I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna go for questions. So anybody has a question? This is your time, guys. I've been talking for 2 hours. Yes, Mary. Unmute yourself. Everybody unmute themselves. Yes, Mary. There we go.
Can you just quickly, briefly review when we as agents are representing a buyer and we're going to show a property? I know we have to use the PEAD form, but did you say it's not included in the in
my checklist
restaurant menu? It's not included in there.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it, but I have an appointment at 4:30 with Anna, and I'll make sure that I have it on my zip. I took a mental note.
Add it, yeah. So that's the only one we are, when we're representing a buyer, that's the only one we have to send, but we have to wait for the seller to sign it before we show.
Correct.
What about the other PEAD form? There's another one, right?
Well, the PEAD form is to inform the tenants that there will be people looking at the property, and to inform the seller that there will be people looking at the property and they have to take the precautions.
Okay, because I thought there was a different form.
There is a PEAD for the visitor. That's the one that we get with the buyer.
Okay, so it's the PEAD-V.
V as in Victor.
Right. And the other one, don't worry about the other one? Or
don't worry, because I think it's L for the listing agent or S for the seller.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else has a question? Yes.
I just said that you have the menu, and then you delete those forms.
Yes.
When you come in the next time, do they show again or they stay deleted?
No, if you are going to apply another template to another transaction, they'll come in.
Okay.
You are deleting only for that transaction, for that specific transaction.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Anybody else has a question?
I do.
Hey, Lorraine, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. Oh shit, my mind blocked. I forgot.
Okay, what about
so much in my mind? I'll come back later.
Okay. Did you have a question, Rosanna?
Yes, I do. You know, let's say if the multiple listing says that the seller really wants full price, but can we, like, let's say the buyer just doesn't really want to come in at full price at the right, at the initial offer. So is there like some kind of ways, or is there something we need to watch out for when we present the offer?
Great question. And I believe that that was the desire of the seller the day that he took the listing. I want full price. And then there are stupid listing agents like me that will say, seller wants ABC escrow, give me a pre-approval letter, give me a FICO score, give me the criminal record of your buyer, give me everything, give me your child's name and phone number. I don't believe you're putting the property out for sale. And I am representing my buyer. And my buyer wants to offer $3,000 below. And my buyer, I mean, they don't tell you to present what, FHA, VA, 10% down, 20% down. I don't know. So my offer is going to be written the way I want it written. Now, do I understand that there's going to be a knucklehead listing agent like Caesar that don't like your offer and is going to throw it away? That's the risk that I take. But I've been in this business long time that I would call the listing agent. And yes, there are jerk listing agents, just as they are jerk buyer's agent, okay? So that's the reason why we have a code of ethics, and some people follow and some people don't. I follow it. I respect every single agent, and I will call them and I will email them and I will text them and say, hey, my name is so-and-so. I've been in this business, blah, blah, blah. I'm representing a good buyer. They're already pre-qualified, but this is what they want. Do me a favor. Open up your mind, Mr. Listing Agent, and let the seller make the decision. Maybe today the seller is feeling like anything. I want to get the hell out of here. Joe Biden is the president. I want to get the hell out of the United States, or whatever decision they make. It's their decision. When they took the listing, they wanted $10,000. The market crashed yesterday or the day before or today. Today, the market was like 31,000 points or whatever. And they feel rich. Woo, my 401, now I got $1 million. So shoot, I can buy any house I want, right? So I can sell my house for cheaper and move to Mexico. It's up to you. So I write the offer to the best for my buyer, right? And in today's market, I would not play, because they're always going to answer you highest and best. But some good buyer's agent will write up a very strong first offer, right? Because they've been losing, and this one they love. So I'm gonna pay $10,000 more. I'm gonna close escrow in 5 days. I don't want no repairs, no nothing. And the seller's gonna say, my goodness, they're even paying for my escrow, my title. Whoo! I would accept that one. And then when you find out that they took 5,000 more than your buyer is gonna say, if I knew, I could have paid that too. And then you lose that buyer. Understand? So write the best offer and tell the buyer, get prepared that yours could be accepted. We have 3 answers: a yes, a no, or a counter offer. And then if you make your best offer, you use every nickel that the buyer has. You use the maximum that they qualified, and the seller says, I want 50,000 more, then your buyer will say, I'm sorry, I don't have any more. Goodbye, I'm looking for another property. Got it?
Thank you.
Okay. And to add to that also, anyway, even if you offer for more, there's an appraiser. You can, your buyer will not be able to buy a property that more than the value. So
not true. Not true. The lender the lender will use a percentage of the value to lend you the money. The difference will have to be either make up by the buyer down payment.
Yes.
In today's market, that is what's happening. There are lenders also that do not allow that. If you are in any FHA or a 10% down payment or less than 20%, some of the lender programs do not allow the buyer to pay more. So either the seller drops the price or the buyer cancel and you go to another transaction and the
Yes.
property gets sold to the second buyer, whoever. You need to understand that and you need to explain that to the clients.
Okay, I remember my question, sir.
Good.
Because I've been using the CAR form for this zip form whenever I try to make an offer on a property. And it's good that I was able to go into this class today. I didn't realize that we have this zip form in under Coldwell Banker. But it's you said earlier that for every transaction per address, right? What if it's the same buyer? So for example, because it's the seller's market, usually my buyers offer 2-3 properties all at the same time. So I
Good.
have to make 3 transactions.
Yes. You don't make the same, you don't create the same transaction and then delete the address and write up it with it. No. You do that. You need to write 3 transactions because remember, one transaction, they may give you a counter offer. This next transaction. This way you will keep them in order. And in one, they give you a rejection, then that transaction, you never open it again. And then you go to the second one. That's the reason exactly. You gave me the right explanation. So if you have one buyer that is writing 3 offers at the same time, which it's not in Caesar's, I never 2-time my girlfriend, right? I only had one girlfriend at a time, right? But there are people out there, they have a girlfriend in Monterey Park and they have a girlfriend in Arcadia and they have a girlfriend in Puente. So if you write at 3 offers, imagine what happened if all 3 say yes. Now you're playing with the seller's heart, right? And you have to cancel. Yes, you can cancel by not opening escrow within 3 days and they will cancel you. But it's up to, it's up to you. I don't do that. I go one transaction at a time and I go fast. Yes, no, if they don't answer me, I'm going with the second one. Right? But I understand your point. It is a hot market and I like this house and I like that other one and that other one. Let's make 3 offers. One, we like it, we make a big price. One, we are so, we'll make a little price, and the other one, we don't like it, but it will be our third, I'll go a little lower. You can do that. That's the reason why you write 3 different addresses. And if they all come back, then you write the 4th address. That is the best way to do it. I do not know how to tell you. Don't be lazy. No, I'm being honest. I mean, we like to have shortcuts, but don't shortcut yourself. It is otherwise you put the same name and then you don't remember what you wrote on the offer. Maybe this one was a 30-day, this one was a 25 days, and then you start deleting here, and then you get all confused. Any other question? I know we've gone beyond the time, but I love to, maybe what we should do is maybe we should have another time where it's just Q&A. Who would be interested to a Q&A Zoom meeting? Not every week for sure, but maybe once a month. Would that be something that you guys will be interested?
Yeah.
Okay, but what I do is I'm gonna see if I can get the title people, escrow people, and I would invite them as well. So if there is a question about lender, then we can ask the lender right there and then. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, maybe we put it on February. We'll put it on the calendar and we're gonna say, ask the expert. And we'll have a time and you can chime in and anybody will be welcome and you can ask all the questions you want about real estate, about forms, about escrow, title, termites. We'll invite several experts, okay?
Cesar?
Yes.
Hi, Cesar. I have a quick question. This is Yolanda.
Hello, Yoli.
Cesar, if you're representing a seller and you listed the property, let's say at $750, and you get an offer for full price, but the seller wants $790. And so we do a counter for $790 and they don't get back to us. Can we as agents get in trouble for listing a property at $750, but the seller wants $790?
We shouldn't. If the seller wants $790, then you should list the property for $790. That's the original thought. Now, I understand that there are people putting the property at market or just below market to generate more offers. Remember, 790 from 750, that's $40,000. So that's about 3%, right? No,
Yeah.
that's about 6% higher. So I would never list a property less than 3% of what the seller likes.
Okay.
Okay, you don't get into trouble, but all of a sudden, if you want if you want more money and you're gonna put the property very low and you say I listed it for 600, and then you get 350 people to want to see it tomorrow, they want to write up an offer at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they want you to accept it, you're gonna be overwhelmed with all these offers.
Okay.
And it's not, it is crazy. I rather will put it for 775. And then you will see who's gonna pay the 790.
Okay, so if we already have it listed for a certain amount, then we should just change it then to what the seller wants?
Yes, and let me tell you, if you already have it listed at 750 and you're not getting offers, it's not worth 790. That's just my personal opinion.
Right, okay, all right.
So that means if you want 790, they're not motivated to sell. And when I mean motivated is they need to sell. Remember, a lot of people want to sell. I want to be a millionaire and I don't have to come to work today, okay?
Right.
But I have to come because I got mortgages and car payments and credit card payments and a life to live, right? So I come to work every day, so they pay me. I go and take a listing, so I make money so I can go on vacations or whatever, right? So
Right.
if the seller says, oh, give me $1 million and I'll sell if they pay me this, they're not 100% motivated. But if they have an issue, they say, I need to go back to Costa Rica because my parents are 90 years old. You got no time, they're going to be 90 and they might die tomorrow and they might die, at 100, but you better sell the house and go help them out over there.
Okay.
So you have a plan and a purpose.
Okay. Thank
Anybody
you.
else? So nice to see you in the class, Jolie.
Thank you, Cesar.
Yes, I do have a question.
Yes, Tracy.
So because I'm doing working on a condo right now. So usually who pays the HOA transfer fee and preparing for the document?
Good for asking. Let me go back and I'm going to share the screen again. So let me see if I can share my screen and go to that page because I left it inconclusive and I wanted to go back to that one. So who pays what? That is on page 3, I believe, page 6, 7, page 3. There is a part of the transaction right here, okay? So here's the deal. Buyer and seller, so you check both, and here each pay their own fees. There is a whole bunch of ways to do it, right? Each pay their own, each pay 50-50. You can put crazy stuff like that, right? Escrow company, you put the escrow company, your favorite escrow company. MOE Escrow is my favorite company. Who pays for the title policy? Usually the seller pays for the owner's policy. There are several policies, owner's policy, and then the buyer pays for the lender's policy, right? So there's 2 ways. That's why they say, well, I thought the seller was gonna pay for the title fee. Yeah, the seller, if you're buying cash, the seller pays for the owner's policy. If you're financing, the seller pays for the owner's policy and the buyer pays for the lender's policy. There's 2 policies. One covers the owner, one covers the lender, okay? Now here on the condominium, right? If there is an association, it is a negotiable item, right? It is a negotiable item. Usually when I'm writing the offer, I wanna say seller pay transfer tax. If I'm in a city where there is a transfer tax, I will pay seller pays the city and I put if any, right? Because maybe I don't know if there is one. I know for sure the county transfer tax, every county in the state of California has a transfer tax. Cities, I'm not sure if, San Francisco has a transfer tax. I wouldn't doubt it because they're crazy. And then here, there is a buyer or a seller, homeowners association transfer fee. Remember, there are transfer fees. So I want the seller to pay. They can give me a counter offer, but look at this one, number 4, no choice. The seller has to pay for preparing the documentation that is required by civil code. Remember civil code? Those crazy dudes that live in Sacramento and they make the laws. those crazy guys decided already that in the state of California, if you are going to transfer a homeowner's document fee, it's paid by the seller if you're using this contract. And then there are preparing other documents. You know, sometimes they might have other documents that are not required by civil code, right? Then these ones I want the seller to pay for it, right? And then look at this one, buyer to pay for HOA certification fee. If you are working with a buyer, the lender, if you're buying cash, no certification fee. But if you're using a lender, there are certification fees, meaning the loan company wants to know that the association has enough banking money, reserve money, whatever money, insurance, and all kinds of crazy things that lenders do require from associations. Sometimes you may not get a loan through. This bank will never lend on that particular condominium complex because it's a small condominium complex and they have a trouble. They don't have reserves, they got lawsuits, whatever. So that's the reason. And here, if there are private fee, the seller pay for transfer fee. This is the way that I will do my offer. But of course, they can give you a counter offer. So this is how the costs are paid. All right? That answer your question, Tracy?
Yes.
Good. Okay, guys, it's 12:13. I got somebody on my door, knocking on my door. They want some help. Were you saying something, Yolanda, or?
No.
No. All righty. Well, thank you, every single one of you that came to the class. We will put next month, the calendar is out there. We do have the lender class on Monday at 1 o'clock, the lunch and learn. You all invited. And I'll send it to Doug and I'll send it to Lori and I will send it to all the agents here in Alhambra. Have a wonderful weekend and feel free to call me at any time when I'm working.
Thank you,
you,
sister.
sister.
Thank you.
Have a nice
Thank you.
weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye.